Hey guys, Eric here, and it's time for a new video game video. I'm really excited about this video. I haven't done a video game video in a while, so I'm really excited about this. Today we're going to be talking about this. This is the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Now you already saw, if you follow me on my channel, you already saw my video on this. This is the Retroid Pocket 3. This is the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, and this is the unit to get if you're going to get one of these devices. So let's talk about the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Before we get started, I want to tell you about a company called Silk Systems. This is my solid-state drive company that I started a few years ago, and we just recently launched our consumer-grade solid-state drives specialized for gaming. All of our solid-state drives are built to order, so please check us out, silksystemsgaming.com. Alright guys, so it's time to get into this. You saw me already talk about the Retroid Pocket 3. So the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, on the outside, they're pretty much identical. Other than the colors, they're identical. Same buttons, same sticks, same everything else. The only thing that's different is the internals. The Retroid Pocket 3 Plus is a little more powerful than Retroid Pocket 3, therefore it's better at the emulation that it does. Currently, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus retails at GoRetroid.com for $149, and for that, it's an absolute bargain. What you get in this tiny little system is amazing as far as emulation goes. As far as emulation handhelds goes, this is the best one I've ever owned. This is not a Steam Deck replacement. This is not for playing PC games, other than some older PC games if you really want to emulate that. No, this is for people that really love retro gaming and really love emulation. We'll emulate all the way up to PlayStation 2. It will do some GameCube. It will do PlayStation 1, PlayStation Pocket, so SNES, NES, all that stuff. It does that great. What I'm really impressed with is how well this actually handles GameCube emulation, which has been a problem in the past. This will do Dreamcast as well, which is really nice. A couple things to note about the Retroid Pocket 3. It runs Android. Android is not the best OS when it comes to emulation. It does take some configuration. You can get reasonable emulators for Android, and you will have to get a good ROM library that you will have to build out. This is going to be the most time-consuming part about starting one of these up. This is not just boot it up and go play. What I can say is once you get it set up, this is an incredible device, and I cannot put it down. I've been playing it constantly. This is my constant gaming companion at this point. Okay, so a few people have asked exactly how big is the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, and I compared it to a Nintendo Switch in my other video, but let's compare it to some other objects. So like here's a water bottle, standard water bottle. Yeah, so it's about the size of the water bottle. Here we go, here's an iPhone 12. This is how big it is compared to the iPhone 12. So it's actually a relatively small device. If you guys have seen an IO Neo or a Steam Deck unit, those are pretty massive compared to this. And this is also smaller than a Switch. It's time to boot it up, and let's get into some gaming so I can show you some emulation and how this works. Okay, so I've spent an extensive amount of time setting this device up and getting it just the way I want it. Is it perfect yet? No, it's not. But that's a work in progress. So as I said, I've spent some time getting this configured just the way I want it. When you first start up the Retroid launcher, this is what comes up. There's all kinds of user interface options and stuff like that. This is the one I'm using right now, and I may change that in the future because I've seen some nice ones. But let's get into some emulation, and I'll show you how it works. So we'll start with Game Boy Advance. This is one of my absolute favorite games. This is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow for the Game Boy Advance. and I just love this game. It's super fun to play. If you were a fan of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, this is a really great game. So here you go, you can see I'm jumping, but the game basically emulates perfectly. The sound is great, all the graphics work, everything is great. Just like a GBA system. And, you know, it's not that hard to emulate Game Boy Advance. It's just, you know, this is just a good game. Alright, let's move on to the next game. Alright, so this is Mario Kart 64. Plays just like the original game. Sorry, it's hard to play through the viewfinder here, but I just want to show you how the emulation works. It's working very well. Everything runs very smooth, the sound is great, and it plays just like a Nintendo 64. Alright, Mario Kart 64, running great, and yeah, it's just perfect. Just a good game. Alright, let's move on to the next game. Alright, now we're into some classics. Classic NES emulation right here. OG Castlevania. Gotta love this game. Still one of my favorite games of all time. Such a good game. Now, NES is not hard to emulate. It's very easy to emulate. It's not graphically intense, obviously. Super old system, and there are thousands of games for it and iterations of different games. As I said, not hard to emulate the NES. Build yourself a good NES ROM library, and you will not be disappointed. There are some great games. Alright, next game. Alright, for the next game we have SNES emulation, the original Star Fox. I love this game. I'm showing off Star Fox because in the past, Star Fox was one of the harder games to emulate. Gotta love that those FX chip graphics. That voice acting. Such a good game. Great music too. Again, super hard to play through the viewfinder on the camera, but love this game. Really good. Emulation is perfect. No frame rate drops, nothing. Everything is great. Sound is super good. Yeah, emulates perfectly. And that's going to be the story for all of these systems, pretty much. Alright, next game. Sorry, I'm having too much fun. Okay. Okay. So for the harder to emulate games, well, not really hard yet. This is PlayStation 1, and obviously this is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Another great game, and it emulates perfectly. Gotta get that switch. Such a good game. This is one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely one of the best games ever released, in my opinion. If you're into Metroidvania games, I mean, this really set the bar. The music was terrific, the graphics were great, and the story was just amazing. Alright, sorry about that little cut there. My camera died. I needed to replace the battery. Anyway, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Really good game. Don't judge my gameplay. It's super hard to play through this viewfinder on the camera. But anyway, such a good game. Emulated perfectly. The music and sound are great. Just a good game. Urge you to play it. Alright, next game. Alright, so now we're on to PSP emulation. This is Maverick Hunter X, which is basically a remake of the old Mega Man X game, and really good game. Where's my jump button? Okay. Again, emulated perfectly. Music sounds good. One of my favorite games for the PSP. I know there's a lot of good games for the PSP, but this is one of my favorites. One of my favorite games for the SNES as well, but I feel like this was a superior version of it. I like the semi-3D. I like the improved mechanics of it. It was just a really good version of this game, and it's really fun to play through. And the controls work great. Yeah. You can see that it's running good, frame rates are good, and sound is great. Next game. Alright, now we're getting into some real emulation here. Not that the other stuff wasn't real emulation, but this is Dreamcast emulation on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. And here we go, Marvel vs. Capcom. One of the best games. Let me turn this down a little bit. I'll just get into a game here so you guys can see all the frame rates and whatnot. So this game is totally playable, and classically, Dreamcast has been hard to emulate in the past. For a lot of handheld systems, especially Android handheld systems, Dreamcast is difficult to emulate, but this runs great. Retroid Pocket 3 Plus doing Dreamcast emulation, and I cannot even see where Spider-Man is to hit him. Anyway, next Dreamcast game. So here we go. Power Stone 2 on Dreamcast. I do not remember how to play this game. Okay. As I said, I do not remember how to play this game. Emulated really well. Sound is all good. There's a lot of stuff happening on the screen, and it's still holding up just fine. Sometimes Dreamcast can be hard to emulate, but not for the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. It does a great job. Alright, next game. Alright, here we go, guys. GameCube emulation on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Do the GameCube games run perfectly on this device? No, they don't. There are some frame rate drops, but they're not horrible. There are some minor sound issues, but again, they're minor. They're not bad. Are the games playable? Most of the games are absolutely playable on this, and that's really great because GameCube is also one of the harder things to emulate on a handheld device. Alright, now we're actually in the game. There we go. Now we're actually in the game, and you can see how it plays. Totally playable. This is obviously the original Metroid Prime. Love this game. Another really, really good game. Charge up my blaster here. Frame rate is good right now. As I said, you will get occasional drops, but it never really drops below 27 FPS. So totally playable. The sound might skip a little bit sometimes, and you can see there's a little artifacting happening in the upper left corner. I think that's just this particular ROM that I have. I've got better ROMs that don't do that. But anyway, I'm just showing you the GameCube emulation here. And again, this is one of the earlier GameCube titles, but it plays really well. It's definitely playable, and that's actually hard to do on a handheld system, especially one for $150. So really good that this can emulate GameCube. There's just so many games that you can put on here, and because it takes micro SD cards, you can basically have a library of ROMs as extensive as you want it to be. Alright guys, final thoughts on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, my favorite emulation handheld that has ever been released, hands down. I really love this device. This device is just the right mix of power as well as the low price point. The form factor is great. The fact that it has a touch screen, the fact that it has 2 analog sticks, the buttons and the D-pad feel great, the triggers feel great on this device. As I said earlier, I just cannot say enough nice things about this device. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. It runs Android, and I wish it didn't run Android. I wish I had a different OS on it. But, you know, with some configuration, as you can see, the gaming experience on this can be very, very good. Now that I've got this one configured, it's super easy to just turn on and start playing. Battery life lasts about 3 days on standby mode. That's without me turning it completely down, just letting it go to sleep like it is right now. And then you can just press the power button on the top and it'll immediately wake up, and then you can jump into the games. Here. Will this do MAME and arcade games? Absolutely. I just haven't put any of them on here yet, but I will put some on there and get those configured as well. If you've got questions about this device, emulation, handheld emulation, or Megacade questions or anything like that, I will do my best to answer those, but you can leave a comment below and I will be happy to try to answer those for you or point you in the direction where you can get those questions answered. Couple other final thoughts. I will say I've noticed a lot of people watching my videos are not subscribed to my channel yet. Please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in retro gaming, if you're interested in video gaming in general, or you can check out my other videos which have to do with house DIY and stuff like that. I know the two topics aren't really related, but that's what my channel's about. I will put links to where you can get one of these at www.goretroid.com down there in the description below. Another announcement I want to make is I will be starting a weekly gaming stream. That's going to be when I get back with my Megacade. We're just going to be doing some Megacade gaming and some chatting and whatnot, and I can answer questions for people there if they have them. And yeah, it'll just be a good time. I'm probably just going to do a weekly thing, and to start off with anyway, for the weekly live streams, but I hope to have a lot of fun. Please join me for those weekly live streams, and I will make an announcement on my channel when those are about to start. I will probably do some practice streams leading up to it just to make sure my configurations are all good and camera angles are all good and all the video is all set up and whatnot. And yeah, I appreciate everyone that supports my channel. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy gaming.